Massive breaking news coming out of the world of soccer. Lionel Messi is expected to come to America. The World Cup champion and former PSG star has chosen to join MLS club Inter Miami, according to CBS Sports Golazo Network. No official announcement has been made yet, but David Beckham's team has reportedly wooed the star over a lucrative offer to play in Saudi Arabia or to head back to Barcelona. Messi, widely regarded as one of the greatest players of all time, will become the biggest name to play for a team in the United States since Brazilian legend Pelé suited up for the New York Cosmos in the mid-70s. You see the profile of Messi, and it is daunting. 806 career goals. He won the Ballon d'Or a record 7 times. Of course, won the World Cup with Argentina back in 2022 and is a 4-time UCL champion. For even more now on this massive news about Lionel Messi making his return and it's time to head to the U.S., we now bring in our soccer expert, James Benge. And James, first I just want to get your initial reaction if this comes to fruition of Messi head to the MLS.
Yeah, we're still waiting for sort of final confirmation, but this is the direction it's going in and what we expect to happen, that Messi will join Inter Miami. And this is massive for American sports. I can only talk from a soccer perspective, but it's indisputable that there's never been a bigger player move to US soccer. I don't think that's even up for debate. I think the only thing that is up for debate when it comes to Lionel Messi is whether he is the actual greatest footballer of all time. He's on the Mount Rushmore. He is one of the very best. You read out some of the stats there. One of the leading lights and still one of the best players in the world right now. He is the overwhelming favourite to win the Ballon d'Or, having led Argentina to the World Cup. He's coming to play in MLS. It should be incredibly exciting times for the US soccer community. And, of course, a bitter blow as well for Al Hilal and Barcelona, who'd hoped to bring him back.
Yeah, what does this mean for the MLS, the league as a whole? You've had talent who's come over from Europe, but none at the level and the height of the career that Messi's at. What's this mean for them?
I don't know to what extent it changes the league beyond it just being a great marketing opportunity, a chance for Inter Miami to sell tickets, Apple to sell subscription packages, and certainly in the next few weeks, I'm sure we will see a level of interest that eclipses even David Beckham's move to LA Galaxy all those years ago, about 15 or so years. Long term, I think this is perhaps more of a challenge for MLS. Can you build off this and become a league where players would come earlier than Messi? We know this is pretty much a retirement move for him. It's no surprise he's heading to the city where he has family connections, he has a home, and that's probably what ultimately swung or will swing it over somewhere like Al Hilal, that we're offering him €1 billion. So I think this is really setting down the gauntlet for MLS of, can you become a top 5 league in the world? MLS is nowhere near that right now. But if you can attract players to play alongside Messi and play against Messi, things can happen quite quickly.
One thing that is interesting in this situation, and you touched on it earlier, is the fact that Saudi Arabia not able to close the deal and get Messi to head over there, and Barcelona also not able to woo him back to play for them once again. What are the potential ramifications that you could see on both sides for them not being able to land Messi?
With Barcelona, it's not that much of a shock. Their salary cap, their finances are in an utter mess. In part, that's because they paid Messi so much for so long, and understandably so, but they ran a huge wage bill into a pandemic, and it always looked really difficult for them to make the money side of it work, even though I think Messi would have liked to have gone back to Barcelona and won another Champions League. For Saudi Arabia, it's really interesting. Let me tell you, about an hour before the news broke that Messi was going to Inter Miami, I was speaking to sources out in Saudi Arabia that were telling me this is happening, he's coming to Saudi Arabia. They really believed it. We never wrote that because you never quite know, but there was certainty and conviction in Saudi Arabia. They were ready. The €1 billion offer, they'd gone to the highest levels of government to get Messi on board. Certainly, I think it probably spells doom for his deal with Saudi Arabia as a tourism ambassador. And there will be a lot of frustration, but I suspect Saudi Arabia will resolve that frustration by giving some different footballers an awful lot of money. They're about to sign N'Golo Kante for €200 million over 2 years. And they're offering pretty much any top talent in Europe a huge salary to make the move. So that's how Saudi Arabia will deal with their frustration, spend their feelings away. maybe not the smartest move.
The money that Messi, of course, was offered reportedly to go to Saudi Arabia or to go to Barcelona, to turn that down, a lot of the thought beforehand was how could the MLS be able to find enough money to pay Messi to get him to come over? There's the reports out there saying that he could maybe get some of the money from Apple, get some of the money from Adidas. In this situation, do you think money was at all a factor, or was it just a desire to kind of get back to Miami, where you mentioned where he has a family home, a large Argentinian population? What do you think it was?
Yeah, I can't believe that money was a factor, because if it was, there was just so much of it in another offer. And also, I mean, I can't speak too much for what life is like in Riyadh, but Miami, it's a special place to live and work. That much is true. And I think when you have family there and a sense of community there, like Messi has, that has to have swung it. But look, also, from the reports that are out there and have been out there for several years, while Inter Miami have been pursuing Messi, it sounds like what they are offering him is an opportunity that there's maybe just a little bit bigger than a playing contract. It's a chance to have a stake in a franchise, perhaps long term, and to really help shape the course of this franchise into Miami. And you can certainly see the appeal of that and home life, and setting that against a lot of money when Messi has an awful lot of money, which he has earned by being the best footballer in the world for about 15 years.
Messi, 35 years old, going to an Inter Miami team that fired their manager, Phil Neville, not too long ago. So you look at maybe on the pitch, he hopes to make their team, whenever he comes over, more have a shot to be in contention. But what does this mean as a whole for the product of soccer in America and for the product that you'll see of the MLS?
It is really hard to know, because top-level talent has come to MLS before and struggled. Now, none of that talent is anywhere near Messi's level, but players like Frank Lampard, Steven Gerrard, Andrea Pirlo, they found that this is a very different league, a very different experience to playing in Europe. It's more physical. I'm intrigued as to how Messi adapts to that. I'm not saying he won't. I'm sure he will win countless awards, win countless games, and I mean, I don't know enough, I have to confess, about Inter Miami to say whether there will be a contender right away. I'm sure Phil Neville, though, is very disappointed he doesn't get to manage him. But, as I said earlier, this is really got to be the start of something for MLS. It can't just be, we've got a star name, that's the league sorted, that's, the issues in terms of star retention and building a top quality USMNT sorted. I mean, there is that 2026 light in the horizon of the World Cup then. And I think if you can use MLS, if you can develop MLS rapidly to be a league where you can develop talent that's capable of shining on the world stage in 3 years' time, that's really ambitious and really tough. But if Messi's arrival can have an impact there, well, it's an excellent bit of business for Inter Miami, for MLS, for Apple, and for US soccer as a whole.
James Benge tapping in with us now with the reported news of Lionel Messi headed to the United States to play for Inter Miami in the MLS. Thank you so much for your time, James. And what a time it is to be a Florida fan of the various sports teams and leagues and people here. You've got the Heat and the Panthers still playing in their respective championships. Then Florida State, are now in the Women's College World Series championship as well. FAU and Miami made Final Four runs to raise to the best record in MLB. Brooks Koepka went to Florida State. He's a Florida native, won the PGA Championship, and now Inter Miami reportedly signing Lionel Messi. The Sunshine State put out a good product. And make sure you stay tuned to the Galazzo Network if you want even more on this news. Streaming 24/7. They have soccer covered all the time. Catch them on Paramount Plus, the CBS Sports app, and also on Pluto TV.